at BYU, and including Brigham Young, of course, the entire school named after him. And there were people sharing comments like this, where in short, the idea is everybody was racist back then. And the specific quote that I shared from Brigham Young was how he talked about how slavery was approved by God. History on a Thursday with the Tomsters. Do you know this? That in 1829, Mexico abolished slavery. In 1834, slavery was abolished in Canada. It wasn't until 1865, after the Civil War, after the Confederacy was like, we are going to die in favor of slavery because we know without the slaves, we don't know and aren't worth shit. All right? Okay? So they're willing to die to keep slaves around. They lost L to the Confederacy. Brigham Young promoted the practice of slavery using God as the proof that slavery was fine. Everybody was pro-slavery back then. Everybody was racist back then. Miss me with that, all right? Because the Mexicans and the Canadians weren't, all right? Majority-wise, they weren't, okay? So, no. Learn some shit before spewing some shit. How about that? How about that? So the other day I shared a...
So I was trying to unpack that. I was listening to this man speak to this point, and I said, hold on. When you ask someone a question and they, with their whole chest, say, everyone was racist, everyone was like that, all they are telling you is what they involve themselves with. So the people around them who they held in high regard, who they respected, who they wanted to be like and become, were the ones saying everyone was like that. Because no. And I have heard so many people speak to just the United States alone about this, that, and the other, and like holding us as a solitary unit, when at the same time in North America, all of North America, not just the United States, Canada up here, and Mexico, no go to slavery. No. But the United States was like, we're going to hang on a little longer. Canada and Mexico didn't like regress and say, you know what, we're going to bring slaves in a little bit. But that's how the United States kept slavery going. They didn't bring the slaves in, they brought in the systems that created the slavery. And my point being about this man's video is we have to change our perspective and look at the way when people are reacting and responding to us. We need to pay attention to what they are projecting, what their vision is of what they're trying to get across. Because anyone trying to sit here and tell you that they believe it's okay because everyone was still believing in that, when we have historical fact, proof, and evidence that that is all lies. The only reason certain people believed it to be true is because it was for them in their very, very, very narrow point of view. So we all need to learn how to change our perspectives and take in all of the information, process it, and make it make sense for ourselves, and not just because the people around us have been telling us over and over and over, and it sounds familiar, so it must be because I'm comfortable, so I'm okay. Okay? In every other capacity, I know so many people are capable of seeing this in every part of their lives. And it's the same understanding that I'm having here, where I sat my whole life testing my limits and my boundaries by watching movies, TV, and videos and documentaries about cults and things like that. And I was so absolute that there is no way anyone could pull the wool over my eyes. I am 39 years old. And it has been within this last year that I have truly deconstructed the cult of the LDS Church, the Mormon cult. You guys need to pay attention and listen to the way I'm telling you to think about things. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm giving you another perspective. And you would rather attack me and destroy me than just validate my perspective. You don't have to believe anything that I have to say. You don't have to trust me. You don't even have to listen to any of this. But those of you who are choosing to do this is what I'm asking. Take a moment and listen to the shift in perspective, and then question everything the same way you did when you were looking at it through someone else's given perspective as to why you follow the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ. Then if you really want to understand why you feel so confused, give me a call, because I have a cognitive dissonance of this all, because I truly, deeply, every part of me believed in the Church of Jesus Christ. I was a living, breathing, active freaking member of the fucking Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But the cognitive dissonance in the fact that I am diagnosed ADHD. How do you say that? ADHD? I'm autistic with ADHD, people. And I'm trying to behave as if I am normal. I am not normal. And no one is. Okay? So the fact that I am cringe and shit and I'm sitting here like I'm going to have to edit this video because I don't want to put it out there and people, you're going to see me be weird because I am. But I'm weird for all the right reasons. I question all the right things. I stand up against the right systems. I stop the right people, and I give you a perspective to think on. But all the people who tore me down and destroyed me and told me to doubt my doubts, all they wanted was to hear me say what they wanted to hear. But me, being autistic and ADHD, was never going to tell them. I could never, ever, ever tell them what they wanted to hear. It literally broke my brain. But they told me. I broke my brain because of exposure to drugs and alcohol and wild lifestyles and removing myself from the church. They put me in a position of, because the people who were around me were certain types of people that I must be. Anyone who has ever known me knows my word is my bond, and my heart is golden, and I am worth my salt. So I don't care what you think and feel about me. The only thing I am going to request is, if you just want to be angry with me and you don't know why, reach out to me and talk to me about it instead of spewing lies and hatred. That'd be cool. You don't have to, but that'd be cool. Or if you want to have a better understanding of why I'm saying the things that I'm saying, I believed in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I was told that I was saved for these latter days. And I still know that I was. I know who I am, and I know God's plan. I'll follow in my way. I'm going to repeat this over and over and over, because that is the part that makes sense to you guys. But that last part, the my way, is what I want to teach you. We were not here to watch the onslaught of the second coming. We were here to learn that we need to end up on the side that I am trying to teach is through the countenance of Jesus Christ, through the frequency, through the love, the unconditional love and the compassion and the empathy that we were supposed to withhold the entire time. So we, as a light grid, as an army, will rise to the occasion and put a stop to the evil atrocities that are happening. I know the frequency I was baptized into. I know what I believed in my heart, even being conditioned into the religion as I was, blindly following. Then waking up to COVID and being told that the sheeple were the people who got vaccines and wore masks. I, whether I believed in it or not, was told I could not work without any of that. And the people that I was helping were people who were the most at risk and vulnerable. Very at-risk children, youth, and the elderly. The people who made up the majority of my clientele, because I've always been the person who stands on the side of what's right. I know I don't have to tell you guys who I am anymore. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to remind you who I was and that I am still that person. The version of me that you thought you couldn't believe you were seeing, you never even saw her. You were told who she was by people you believed you could trust their opinions of. And damn, did they do a good job of pulling the wool over your eyes. Because at the end of all of this, like I've said, it has been years now, and I put my foot down and I said, the truth will always rise, and light always shines. I'm still here. You may perceive my words to be vengeful and hateful and chaotic. That just happens to be the way that I speak when I'm trying to heal. I don't fucking care how you feel about that. That is how I process. So, your perceptions of me change the way you receive my information. Change your perspective, change your perspective. Re-listen to the things that I've been saying. Go back and reread the things that I have written. And think about it again. And then question how you feel about me. If you still feel the same way, then no skin off my fucking anything, because I'm just putting myself out there to let people know who I am and what my intentions are. And that I cannot really be who I am supposed to be if I am not speaking up and speaking out. I am using other people's words to help kind of ease it through to people who I am, because too much too soon, nobody likes me. And that was before, and that is still now. None of that's changed. So I'm just putting it out there, who I am, what I'm fighting for, and when you feel lost and confused, I will again be that fixed North Star for you, who I always have been, whether a member of the church, not a member of the church, a client of mine for the last 20 fucking years, all of this shit, everything's hitting the fan. And nobody knows what to do, and a lot of you feel lost and untethered because you lost me. I know how this sounds, but think about that again. Listen to this last 10 seconds and think about that again. Did you get triggered and angry because I was so arrogant and haughty to say such a thing that you're feeling a certain kind of way because you don't have me in your life? And how dare I? Or am I speaking the truth? Food for thought. But I love you.